feel like this is my first time. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to introduce Maureen McKinnon, and I'm also going to share my screen with some awesome sailing pictures that she's going to share with you about. So go ahead and take it away, Maureen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Heather, for inviting me to talk about sailing. And I'm happy to see that my friend and fellow sailor, Joe Walsh, is joining us from Adaptive Sports New England as well. So good morning. And I can't wait to tell you all about sailing. So first I'll do an introduction. I'm an L1 paraplegic. I've been paralyzed for 25 years and been a member of the United Spinal back when it was called other names. And I've been a mentor as well. I'm a mom of 2 kids, and I am a Paralympic sailor. I've been to the Paralympics twice, once to the Beijing Games and once to the 2017 Brazil Rio Games as well. And in both times I've sailed in the 2-person Scud 18 boat, achieving gold in 2008. I've also run the Pierce Park Sailing Center Adaptive Sailing Program, and that is in East Boston, and I'll be talking about that in a minute. So as an intro to the sport, I would say that the sport of sailing gives you such incredible freedom and empowerment. The number one question I'm always asked about sailing is, where do you put the wheelchair? Well, you don't. The wheelchair does not come aboard with you in most all cases of sailing. And you can be a passenger or a skipper. You can sail on an ocean or a lake. You can sail anywhere there's water, and believe it or not, even in Arizona. I've sailed on a reservoir in Arizona. There's cacti all around the basin of where we were sailing, and so sailing is everywhere, but adaptive programs aren't necessarily, and I'll get to that. Sailing can be a very social activity, and it can also be a solo activity. And I'll talk a little bit about the pictures. There's 3 pictures that will be rotating that you'll see, and you'll probably have questions about that. The biggest challenge for sailing for those of us that use wheelchairs are 3 things. The ramp, how steep it is to get down to the dock. The second thing is getting aboard the boat, doing the transfer. And then the last thing is something that we do in sailing called tacking, which when the wind is on one side of the boat, you are one side of the boat. When the wind comes from the other side of the boat, you generally have to move to the other side. And that's where the adaptive equipment generally comes in. Transfer chairs, transfer benches, and some self-tacking seats that will go from port to starboard. That's the right and left of the boat. I find sailing to be, just the best sport. And I feel as though sailing is the type of sport that everyone with a spinal cord injury can enjoy. And by everyone, I mean even those who may be ventilated and using a sip and puff straw system in order to steer the boat. When you first start, you may want to just be a passenger, just kind of get the feel for it, the way the boat heels. It leans to one side or the other side. But ultimately, I think that the way to really experience sailing is to learn how to skipper the boat. And that involves training and lessons. And I'm looking at the screen. Okay, there.
Sorry, I'm going to, I was trying to pin your face and I messed up my screen share. I'm going to go back to screen share.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So next I'm going to talk about where you can sail. And there are a number of opportunities in the Boston area. And I will probably talk the most about the sailing program I know most about, because I used to run it for 5 years, between 2007 and 2012. That would be Pierce Park Sailing Center, which is on the harbor, on Boston Harbor in East Boston. And they have sonars. Sonars are a 23.5-foot boat. It's very, very stable. You'll feel very, very safe aboard. The ramp system is unlike anywhere else. It is able to be used at all levels of tide, and there are countless ways that they can get you aboard through transfer boxes or even Hoyer cranes to get you onto the boat. And they have lots of different seating systems that are available for different levels of injury. And the next one that's available in the local area would be community boating, which is right in, Beacon Hill, Back Bay on the Charles River. They have lots of different types of boats that you can use there. A little less equipment, but a lot more staff. They have Ideal 18s, which is like a shrunken down version of the sonar boats. You'll see some of that silhouette of that boat in one of the photos later on. And they have the Ideals that I mentioned, sonars, and then they have Mercuries, and they are able to service folks that use power wheelchairs, but I believe you will need to have some type of arm usage in order to use the boats there. The more trunk stability you have, the more boat options you will have at community boating. Their membership structure is that you can get financial assistance and pay $1 for the year. This is the silhouette. The photos that you're seeing right now is the silhouette of the sonar boat. And you may recognize a couple of faces from the chapter, including on the upper left corner, you'll see Charlie Courteau, outdoor enthusiast and maker of many different types of adaptive outdoor equipment. That is him at the helm. There is an adaptive piece of equipment right in front of him, which is a balance bar that goes across the boat from port to starboard. That gives somebody some stability, as well as something to grab onto to tack across the boat. I don't believe in that picture that Charlie, as a quadriplegic, is really using any chair system at all, but we all know he's a super quad. So that you'll also see in this photograph over to the upper right, there's a woman who is using one of the very simple PVC seating systems and also holding on to the bar for stability. The woman in the lower left is sailing very much like Charlie is on the sonar boat. In the center is a deceased friend, Jim Donahue, who's a single leg amputee, as you can see, who used no equipment whatsoever. And then the lower right, there's a cranking bicycle system that's being used by Richard Ramos, who is I think C4 quadriplegic. And he has since taken that system and modified it and turned it into quite a machine. The next place that you can go sailing once a year in the Charlestown Navy Yard is through Courageous. They have a community event, usually twice a year, June and in the fall, usually in September or October. Due to COVID, they've canceled their June event, but the fall event should be posted soon, where you can go to a more favorable ramping system in a different part of the Navy Yard and participate in their once a year event. They do have other adaptive programs for other disabilities, but for someone that uses a chair or crutches, the standard ramp that they have there is, by my definition, treacherous. The last and final place that you can go is down on the Cape. There's Sail Cape Cod, and they have some programs down there in Hyannis. All of these links will be available in the after movie, shall I say? What would you call it, Heather? Your after video? And just a couple of notes from Pierce Park, from the executive director. He wanted our group to know that there's a special opportunity coming up from the Christopher Reeve Foundation. They are looking for one fresh out of the box sailor who's never sailed before to do a video on their very first sailing journey. And so if you reach the executive director, Alex DeFranzo, he would be happy to make you part of that video for the Christopher Reeve Foundation. He also mentioned that adult sailors, if they would like to join the Learn to Sail program, which is often in the $600, $700 range with membership, financial aid is available for those who might be on fixed incomes. That the youth programming is available for kids with all different types of physical disabilities from ages 6 to 22. And that includes intellectual disabilities as well. We will not be having any Give It a Try event this year over at Pierce Park Sailing Center, but there you can text if anybody has I can put it in the chat later, but if anybody has a pencil ready, you can call or text 617-561-6677 and schedule your own private sailing for your very first time at no charge. And he has confirmed that the Sip and Puff steering system at Pierce Park is ready to go. However, you do need to be vaccinated in order to use it. That would be through a straw, sipping and puffing, turning the boat from port to starboard with only your breath. So when I say that any level of injury can sail at Pierce Park, you absolutely can. And then you have the other 3 opportunities as well for sailing. So thank you very much for listening.
Excellent. Great. So we will, okay. I'm sorry. Something was going on. I was trying to share one particular image and it kept on coming up as like not being able to show, but I hope you got to see some of the pictures, or, the 2 pictures particularly that I was showing. Excellent. So we'll just take questions for about 3 minutes. Let me just check. I wasn't able to check the chat, so I just wanted to see if anybody has any specific questions. Anybody have any questions for Maureen? I have a question, and I can always talk to you about this later too, but so if I wanted to come and try it out, can I bring my son with me? He's 6.
There's plenty of room on the boat.
It can be like family.
There would be a waiver to be signed, and there would be life jackets available in all sizes.
Great. Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
Yep. So I want to share that it's been a couple of years now with COVID, but although I haven't been to Pierce Park, which looks wonderful, I have been to community boating, and I've taken my grandkids. And the last time I went, I had my partner and I think 4 of the grandkids. I think the maximum was maybe 7 on the boat. So it was a wonderful opportunity to take the grandkids. So yeah, you don't have, you can bring people with you. And it was great. So I look forward to looking into the Pierce program. Thank you, Maureen.
Sure. And Kathy, were you provided a skipper that day?
Yeah, we had somebody who was teaching us what to do because I didn't really know how to do it. So the kids all got to take turns a little bit, which was a little nerve-wracking, but because they were young. But it was a lot of fun, and it was a fun activity for me as a disabled grandmother to be able to take them out and do something fun.
Yeah, it can be a family event, and as I said, it can be a very social thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They're good eggs over there.
Oh, great.
If anybody's question is, do I need to swim? Do I need to be able to swim in order to participate in sailing? The answer is no. There are some more heavy duty life jackets available for those that might have neck or head control issues. But everyone wears a life jacket, whether they can swim like a champ or not. And so your head will always stay above water if for any reason you fall into the water. But you would really have to be quite a gymnast in order to fall off the boat. It's nearly impossible.
That's great. Abby, I just wanted to address your question in the chat too. We're going to send out all of the information that Maureen presented and the links and all that stuff, how to get in touch. But maybe Maureen, can you just mention again real quickly, what days of the week does it operate and what is the parking situation?
The parking situation, it would be different at each one of these centers. There are at least 2 handicap parking spaces in the park at Pierce Park. I usually, for me, when I go over to community boating, if I call ahead, they will allow me to come down the Esplanade slowly and park right there on the Esplanade area. There are a couple of handicap parking spaces there. In the case of Sail Cape Cod, I'm sorry, I don't know what their situation is there. And at Courageous, there are 2 handicap parking spaces right alongside the Mass General Institute of Health building. There are 2 right there. And if you know that they're there, you can take those. And there are 3 right in front of the Mass General building.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, thank you again, Maureen. And if you happen to think of any questions over the next presentation, or over the time period between now and when we're ending the presentations, we'll have a few minutes at the end to ask. Okay, great. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We're going to move on to Joe Walsh presenting for Adaptive Sports New England.
Thank you, Heather. Thanks, Mayor Maureen. That was a great presentation. Great to see all those super pictures of people out sailing. You're making me ready to go now.
Well, anytime, Joe, we can go sailing together again.
All right, we'll have to get out there pretty soon here. So, hello, everybody. My name's Joe Walsh. I'm the president and the founder of Adaptive Sports New England. At Adaptive Sports New England, our primary mission is to increase the participation in sports by youth and young adults who have either a physical disability or a vision impairment. So we work within the realm of Paralympic sports. We work alongside and support our friends at Special Olympics who work with individuals who have intellectual disabilities, but we focus on individuals who have either a physical disability or a vision impairment. Today, I'll be working with programs and activities that are focused for the audience here, for those of you with spinal cord injuries or who have family members who have spinal cord injuries. I'll also point out that though the programs that we run specifically are youth focused, we definitely provide a lot of consultation. One of the services that we provide is individualized consultation, and we do that for individuals of any age that need not be youth. So we'll take your phone call and help you try and figure things out. The message that I want to leave with you by the end of the day today is that if you're interested in getting involved with sports and it's not clear to you how to proceed, then feel free to call or email me, and we'll have a conversation, because there's so many different variables with regard to where you live and what your interests are and what your experience is and what the available opportunities are in your area, or whether the priority is to pursue a specific sport or just to get active. I'm happy to have those conversations with you to try and come up with a solution that will meet your needs. It's likely not, or it may not be something that Adaptive Sports New England puts on as a program. But like I said, that's a service that we provide, is to support support engagement in sports, whoever is doing that. Yeah. So one of the well, it's great to be on a panel with so many good opportunities, so many other presenters here who provide good local opportunities. Nice job, Heather, and Heidi putting this panel together. I may touch upon some of the partners who are already here. You'll see them on. I'm going to go to our website and do a little click through, and you'll see some of the partners mentioned. That's because what we're trying to do is promote the opportunities that are around the area. We try and list a lot of opportunities on our calendar and in our directory. Those aren't necessarily indicating that we have anything to do with those programs, just that we support the people who are organizing those. So I'll also try and hit on a number of sports that are not mentioned otherwise in the presentation, and I'll skip quickly through some of the ones that are. So, all right, I'll warn you that I am legally blind, and working on Zoom in this kind of setup it's a little bit tricky for me. But I'm going to do a little screen share to get to our website, and hopefully I don't get you too dizzy with my zooming in and zooming out, click through process. But let's see if I can make this happen. Share screen. And I'm going to go to website, and how's that? Does that come up?
Great. Yeah. Can everybody? Okay. It does look a little bit. The picture
it's a particularly fuzzy picture. That's
yes.
That's the photograph, not your resolution.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Nope.
Yeah,
it looks great.
Thank you. Let's see if I can get this to move. It doesn't look like it's moving. There it is. So let me get back here. This is our beginning. We at Adaptive Sports New England, we run a number of different programs. Wheelchair track is one of them. We do have some adults who train sometimes with our program. I'll also warn you that we are still in our recovery period from the pandemic and have got several challenges putting together some of our programs, the wheelchair track one in particular. But we hope by the end of the summer that we'll have wheelchair track back up and going. We have in the past, or last summer, we trained at Harvard, right in Alston, right on the Boston side of the river. And we've done that before. We've got a great coach, Jason Fowler, who's a triathlete, Paralympic triathlete, and long distance ultra marathon or Ironman triathlon. And he does a super job with everybody there, doing positioning and as well as coaching. We've got a number of chairs that we have access to that we let people borrow. If we don't have one that fits you or works for you, then we'll try and work with all of our partners to see if we can identify one that you could use. But these chairs are both expensive and tricky to fit. So we'll do our best for you on those. Work with community rowing in Brighton to do our para-teen rowing program. We work with them most closely on that teenage program, where we try and build the camaraderie around there and give the kids an experience of being on a team and being in a training group, having a coach, getting all the benefits from being in a sport that other kids get. This particular photo shows a group of athletes who use their legs and arms, but you'll see in the background a a double, where, or maybe that's a single, I can't tell. But a sculling boat, that's a single, but a sculling boat, which is what athletes who have paralysis would use. The boats are set up with outriggers or flotations on the outriggers so that the boat's extra stable. And the folks at community rowing are super skilled in trying to put together the hardware so that you can try. They run several programs and have adults as well as their youth program that we work with them on. Specifically, they also have open para rowing, which is mostly adults, and they have those generally at different times of day, some during the business day and some in the evenings, so that you can get involved there. And that's at community rowing in Brighton. So swimming, Adaptive Sports New England has a great swim team. We have Coach Michael Prout, who's a Paralympic swimmer, and Anna Johannes, also a Paralympic swimmer, who work with us. We train out in Wellesley at the Wellesley Sports Center. Maybe we'll get back to Wellesley College soon once they open back up. But we train there just once a week, and some of the athletes are athletes who are swimming for fitness, and they come once a week, and we're able to give them some technical support and the opportunity to swim. And but others are more competitive and swimming down in Paralympic meets so that they can be competitive nationally. We also have some very young swimmers who are just coming and learning how to swim, or they've got good basics already, but they are learning how to train. And we also run swim lessons for kids, youth swim lessons for Paralympic eligible kids. So you saw the wheelchair basketball there. The slides are getting away from me here now. But you saw the wheelchair basketball. We run a youth wheelchair basketball program that'll restart in the fall. We don't expect to have anything going this summer, just for logistical reasons. But we'll restart in the fall. We traditionally have played at Canton at the Pappas Rehab Hospital for Children there, and we have chairs there for everybody who doesn't have one of their own. So I'll mention, though, that there are two other wheelchair basketball locations up at Andover, North Andover, that are open for adults, not just youth focused, up in the Andover, North Andover YMCA, and down in Lincoln, Rhode Island at the McCall YMCA in Lincoln. And so if you're interested in that those run from a very competitive to being very entry level, community level basketball. So you can check in with me, and I'm happy to sort of guide you along depending on what your interests are. So in our play sports area here, what we do is not just focus on the programs that we run. I'll click quickly on the Adaptive Sports New England programs. As you see, we run swim teams, swim lessons, rowing with community rowing, wheelchair basketball, track and field, and we do a short program in the summer on sailing with community boating. So those are the opportunities that we have. We also promote the opportunities around Greater Boston. I'm going to apologize in advance for not having tennis on here, because I should have wheelchair tennis on here, but Melissa will talk about that. But there's opportunities on our website here that we highlight in a variety of different sports that are suitable for people who have spinal cord injuries. We've got our swimming and rowing, power soccer, Jim's going to talk about, and wheelchair basketball. I just gave you a little briefing on that, and wheelchair rugby up at the University of New Hampshire for quadriplegic players, quadriplegic athletes can play wheelchair rugby. So I think I'm running short on time, and I want to leave some time for some questions. So I guess I will leave. Well, no, let me hit one more thing. I'll go back to our play sports section and just show you that there's also on here our directory of Paralympic sport or adaptive sport organizations across New England. This too needs to be updated. I need to add in Sail Cape Cod and the Boston Breakers, but this has got by state just a listing of various adaptive sport organizations that run programs. We're in the process of updating this whole website and hope to have it set up so that it's more sport focused. So you could go in and say, where can I go sailing? And be able to click on that. Or where can I go alpine skiing? Or where can I go cross country skiing? And have you be able to click on that. Hopefully that'll be up and running by the end of the summer. That's our current refresher of our website effort that's going on. So, all right.
I also noticed, Joe, that that page that you were just on, it had your contact information. So even though we'll be sending out all of this information with everybody's contacts, this website seems to be a great place to go just in general if anybody has any specific questions or needs to contact you.
Yeah, my contact information is several different places on this, so feel free to reach out to me. Heather, can you kick me out of this?
Let's see here. Can I view options here?
Maybe just delete me as a co-host.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that might be good. Okay. While we're doing this, does anybody have any questions? How do we? Maybe stop video. Is that what we need? Go ahead, Maureen.
Joe, does the swimming program that is at the Wellesley location, does that presume that the teen or the child already knows how to swim well, or are there lessons for that for lap swimming?
In Wellesley, the program that we run is we call it our swim team. It doesn't do, as a group, they don't necessarily compete often. There's only a couple of Paralympic meets in the Northeast a year, but we presume that they can swim multiple laps at it, in a session. So they don't have to be great swimmers, but they need to be able to get in the pool and swim back and forth down the lane and, be competent and water safe and capable of doing that, with several repeats. The younger kids and the beginners generally swim for 45 minutes to an hour. So we do run swim lessons. We run them directly in Quincy, but we also have good relationships with a couple of other YMCAs in Woburn and in Andover, and we'll reach out to others if necessary to find youth swim lessons for kids who have disabilities and try and support them in that.
Great, thank you very much.
I have a question.
Please.
You have this program, they have some on Spanish too?
I don't have anything that's in Spanish. I apologize.
No, not a problem. Thank you.
Yep.
Joe, yeah, definitely, Maria, definitely something that is a good point to identify. And Joe, there's also one more question, then we're going to move on to Jim for his presentation. Okay. One more question popped up. So Abby was just asking that, and it is a little bit confusing as far as what programs are for adults versus kids. And can you just talk about the age range typically that you work with, but also Abby, just to mention too, that Joe said that they will help anybody of any age if they just need assistance with like getting connected to an adaptive sports program, not necessarily connected to adaptive sports or affiliated with Adaptive Sports New England. So, but Joe, do you want to just go over the age range maybe real quickly? And then also somebody asked about when is the track and field available and where to sign up?
Okay.
Two different questions there.
Two different questions, but quickly, the swim lessons program is specifically for kids and is not adult. We don't offer adult swim lessons. And the wheelchair basketball program that Adaptive Sports New England runs is a youth-focused program, depending on the attitude and interests of a young adult who is 20 or in that very youngest adult age. We might allow them to be included as long as they brought the right attitude to the game. But those are definitely youth-focused programs. Everything else that we do, it depends again a little bit on the attitude of the adult coming. We're trying in the track and field program. We had a couple of adults with us last year and welcomed them to come and train with us. In our swim team program, we have a couple of adults who are good additions to the program. But our programs are youth focused. The other ones that I put up are all have options for adults. So community boating, sailing, Maureen just talked about community rowing. There's great options there for adults. Wheelchair basketball at both Andover, North Andover Y, and at the Lincoln, McCall Y and Lincoln are okay, are all open to adults. The other question was about track and field. I'm a little uncertain as to when that's actually going to come together. Hopefully by July, we have that back together. Our coach is a little bit out of commission right now, and haven't come up with a solution for that just yet. But to reach me on any of these programs, just email me is the best way to get on my radar for this, so that we can maintain contact for that. So.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Joe. We're gonna time is getting away from me. I don't know, I apologize for
sorry about that.
So much information and it's so great. Thank you so much. We're gonna have Jim present now and yeah, oh, perfect. He's ready to go. Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Go ahead.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I am Jim Weiss, and I am pleased to see that one of my teammates just joined us, Juan Carlos. And if you are seeing my screen, I just put up a picture of us at a 2017 tournament. Let me close this out, and I will do my disclaimer like Joe did. Clicking through Zoom links sometimes does not work. Is everybody seeing the picture with the image of the soccer?
Yes.
You are, okay.
Well, we're seeing the two people with the soccer ball in the middle.
Are battling it out, okay.
Yes.
I just want to see if I am able to see that picture or something different. You still seeing that picture? Or are you seeing my
Yes.
notes? You seeing
Same,
my-
same picture.
Okay, so I got a little thrown off because Juan entered the building, but I'm gonna do a shout out to Juan. So that's a picture from our 2017 national tournament, and everybody's got some serious expressions. Sometimes it could be a pretty serious sport. So let me give you a little background on me. So I am a player of power soccer, and I'll also refer to it as power wheelchair soccer because it makes it clearer and it's easier to search and find the right stuff. I'm also a team representative for the Boston Breakers power soccer team, and we practice out of the Tobin Community Center, and that's where we started back May 2012 when we did a demonstration hosted by the United States Power Soccer Association. I'm also the board president for Boston Self-Help Center, which is a nonprofit that sponsors the Breakers. And we are also kind of in a process of expanding some of the offerings that we have in adaptive sports. And we're trying to not duplicate what other folks are doing, but trying to find those kind of niche areas. And one of those areas that we see that is similar to power soccer addresses some of the folks who may be like me. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic, have both upper and lower body limitations and strength. So I want to introduce you to power soccer. And for me, I think it's the ideal sport for someone who drives a power wheelchair. And I think Maureen was saying, gee, anybody can get into sailing. If you can drive a power wheelchair, puff and sip, hand control, foot control. I've seen people laid out. Anybody can play, and it's an amazing sport. I think it also attracts folks who may not want to get out of their wheelchair for whatever reason. You're comfortable in your chair, you may have a leg bag or catheter. I mean, I think that also draws folks to the sport. I particularly found it exhilarating first getting out on a basketball court. I think Heather was talking about things being outdoors. Well, it turns out that power soccer most often is indoors because most of the basketball courts outdoors would really tear up our tires. So we're playing usually on a basketball court, and I'm going to show you a little video in a minute. But I think the getting out in a power chair when you first find that open space and find you can just drive and fly around. And then when you find out that some of the soccer chairs are all souped up and it's like being on steroids. So all these, all these dreams you've had of, super strength, super power. My colleague Juan Carlos, who's here in the house, would tell you, you get into something called the Strike Force chair, and you have superpowers beyond anything anybody in a power chair, normal power chair has. It's so quick, it's so fast, and a lot of fun. The other part of this for me was, here I am on this basketball court, using at the time pretty much a standard chair and some sort of a guard in front of the chair, getting to hit a ball around. I mean, if you hadn't been doing any other kind of sport or activity, that first time during a demonstration or practice, and I had told folks initially when Boston Self-Help Center was thinking about trying to offer some sort of demonstration, if we could get folks out there, it would be kind of like the movie Field of Dreams. They will come. So I think that's the important piece of this is that, and it's probably with a lot of the adaptive sports, get out there and try them. I mean, Maureen, she's looking for one person to try sailing. Come out to a practice, come out to a demonstration. So I am going to try right now to switch over to a presentation that was put together by Northeastern physical therapy student who was part of a team of students doing adaptive sports videos that we're trying to compile on our Boston Self-Help Center YouTube page. And let me see if I can do that. And let me stop the share and kind of do another share.
It's more difficult than you would think to go back and forth. At
It
least
is
I don't
sometimes.
do it very often enough, so I don't know how to do it. But okay, we can see the screen now. Yeah, we can see the YouTube.
I appreciate that, Heather. Thanks for the.
Yeah, no, I trust
Hopefully
me.
you'll hear this too. Let me give it a go. Oh, it's playing in my ear. I'm not sure you're hearing this, right?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Okay. Now I'm going to call out to my partner, Juan Carlos. Do you have any advice for me to not get this in my ear? How do I get it?
Hi everyone, this is Juan. Jim, in your settings of the Zoom, you may see something like settings and then share audio.
Settings, share audio. And
On the Zoom, you're on the Google, on the Zoom, look for the settings of your Zoom, yeah. Where you share the screen,
I shared the screen, okay.
where you share your screen of Zoom. Hover around there and you will see something.
So I stop share right now and
yeah, go where you share your screen. You will find it there.
okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
share your screen just as normal, and right around the options around there, try to see
Oh, I see.
an
It's
arrow
like
that says
bottom left-hand corner, Jim. You'll see it's a very small print. It says share sound, and I think you just checked
Yeah.
that off. Wow, thanks, Juan. I didn't even know. I didn't
no
even know that.
problem.
We're learning things today. Do you see it, Jim?
I'm at the bottom. I am,
That screen that pops up, like when you click share screen, there's like a white screen that gives you the options of what you want to share on your screen.
okay, let me go.
Bottom left.
So I'm gonna go stop, I'm gonna stop share, I'm gonna go, I'll do share screen and bottom left sound.
Share sound. It's right next to optimize for video clip.
What did they say? It takes a village, is that right?
That's right. That's right. We will
Right.
learn this together.
Let's give this a
As
go.
long as everyone can just be patient for a moment,
Okay.
it will be worth it.
we all are learning these new technologies, not a problem.
Yeah, this is true. Even a year in, right?
Oh, man, it's still.
Okay,
still-
perfect. Yes.
This project about adaptive sports.
You can hear it?
My project is about
Yes.
power soccer.
You can, okay.
Power soccer was created in France. Originally, they called it football and electric wheelchairs in 1978. Without contact with France, Canada developed power soccer.
Increase
which was then,
volume if you can.
Exported to Japan and the USA, where Boston and San Francisco were one of the earliest cities to adapt power soccer. Then the Power Soccer Federation was formed with the founding countries being England, Canada.
Is that really not coming out very loud? You guys straining to hear that?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. If it's not,
I know that this was gonna be a little low, so you've always gotta have plan B and C, right? So.
okay. So, all right, Abby, you say it's okay.
I'm gonna try one more thing. And I am going to, there was one more. Let me see if I can get another video here. There's always one in the crowd, isn't there?
That's okay, Jim. Is there anything that I can even look up for you on YouTube? Not that I think my screen would be any better or my capabilities would be any better, as you saw with my imaging shares earlier.
My other option was to try this one, which is, it's more professional, less about us, but let me give this a go.
All right. Can you make it a full screen? Yes. Yeah, great.
Power soccer is the fastest growing adaptive sport in the world. It's a 4-on-4 version of soccer played by power wheelchair users. It's played all over the world in 20 plus countries.
Power soccer is really empowering for the people who play. As a child, I had always dreamt of being an athlete, and now power soccer gives me that opportunity. And, you know, for parents, you know, who have a child with a disability, maybe at one time they thought, you know, maybe my child will never play a team sport. Maybe my child will always be on the sidelines. But power soccer eliminates that barrier. Power soccer does a lot for a lot of people.
I've been coaching power soccer for about 5 years or so, and I love being able to coach. It's so much fun. It can be challenging at times too, because you have players that have different abilities and skills, and you have to learn and adapt how you would coach those players. One of the best rewards is seeing how excited that the players get when they are playing and they accomplish something they've been working on for a really long time.
Well, we're fortunate to have two really solid coaches within our program with the Vermont Chargers. The things that they convey to us, obviously it helps us with our soccer, but there's also lessons that we take off the court and help us in life.
And what we're doing here is we're speed testing all the chairs. There's a maximum limit to the speed of the chairs, and we did that for safety purposes. We want as well as the idea that we're focusing on the tactics and skill of players rather than the technology. So all the chairs are measured to make sure that they're slower than 10 kilometers an hour or 6.2 miles an hour.
The coolest thing about power soccer is it's a real sport. It takes real skill to play, and you have to be dedicated to it, just like any other sport.
We practice plays, we work on strategy, and we're going out there to win. There are going to be smiles, and people are going to win, and there are going to be tears, and people are going to lose. And that really is the essence of competition.
My vision for the future of power soccer is to see this sport grow and grow and grow and reach out to as many people as we can find. There's people out there that have no idea about the sport, and the sport helps so many, not only the players that play, but the families, the community, the whole. Everything about power soccer is a positive thing. It also transfers off the court, how to live your life, how to be the best you can be.
There's a lot of different ways to help the sport. I mean, obviously, you can donate to the organization, but even more than that, donate your time, donate your knowledge, especially if you're into sports already and you coach, because we're always looking for coaches, assistant coaches, referees.
The sport is thrilling to play, but the folks that you get connected to, I'm part of this global community now of people that I would have never met from all over the world.
Power soccer just opens the doors to so much more. Once you get involved and your family gets involved with playing power soccer, get ready for it to change your life. It's changed mine, and I've seen it change the lives of so many.
So that was the professional video, which I guess came out a lot louder than ours. Right now, I just wanted to open things up for people's questions. I'll tell you that the pandemic is definitely put a hold on our season. We're looking at trying to come back. We're trying to find courts that will allow us back. We're trying to find vaccinated volunteers that would help set up those metal guards you saw in the chairs. We all started, and sometimes a lot of players will start with plastic guards. So there's plastic guards that go on the front of the chairs. A lot of times people will start with a used chair, kind of a backup chair. There's ways to go into the controls of the chair and turn the speeds up. The referee was telling you can't go more than 6.2 miles an hour, but it's the acceleration, it's the turning. You saw a lot of people hitting the ball with the side of the guard and the front of the chair, the front of the guard. You're not supposed to bang into each other, so it's not meant to be a contact sport. And right now there's our team in Boston. We're at a point where we're expanding. We're probably bringing in another team. We're looking to grow the sport. So if there are individuals, and I've always said to folks, I want a quad squad. I want the quad squad. Yes, Heather, you know what I'm saying. I want the quad squad. All it takes is about 4 or 5 of us. We become a team. All it takes is 4 on the court. You got a goalie, you got a center, and you got 2 wings. It seems like it's kind of like floor hockey, and kind of at the same time being soccer. So let me open it up for questions, and yeah, love people to be to consider it. And we are also, let me also say that we just received a small grant from Northeastern to do some adaptive sports demonstrations, and we'll be posting those over the summer, and when it's considered safe to be in those court areas, where we'll have 3 or 4 different sports, including power soccer, so people will get to try it out.
That's great. We do have a question in the chat. I think Mary was feeling a little bit left out when you said quad squad, because
Yeah, well,
paraplegia would like to be a part of the quad squad. So, or maybe they don't want to be, but they want to join into what we're doing. So Mary wanted to know, can paras play soccer?
Yeah, I mean, we have folks who can get out of their chairs and walk around that can play, and so, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're a para. But I think the criteria for the National Association is that you use a wheelchair in some way. The reason I'm saying quad squad is because I'm a little bit older, and there was a TV show called Mod Squad. So quad squad, you know, for those of us who are of a certain age will know. So yeah.
Definitely.
But anybody, you know, anybody, and they, you know, a lot of times they'll pitch some of these things as youth. I mean, we are trying to attract younger folks, but we may be considered the over the hill gang, because I think, Juan, correct me, I forget who's the youngest now, but we go about 30 to about 70 right now on our team. So that, I mean, there's a range, and we're bringing on some people, another team that's lost their coach and lost a player, and they're actually 13 to 19.
Great. Any other questions for Jim? Well, thank you so much, Jim. And again, all of this information, you know, there'll be a flyer to send out, and, you know, so if anybody wants to contact you or reach out, then they'll have the opportunity to do that. So thank you so much. This was so helpful, and I loved that video. It's really cool to see it in action. That was great. Thank you. All right, Melissa, we'll move on to tennis.
Thanks, Heather. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melissa Hoffman, and I am actually outside of a YMCA right now in New Hampshire, about to go in to tennis practice. So so that's why I have my interesting background. Anyway, I am a member of the board of the South Coast Wheelchair Tennis Foundation. I'm also a member of the Wheelchair Tennis Committee for the United States Tennis Association for New England, as well as their diversity and inclusion, a member of that committee as well. I am a wheelchair tennis player. I have spina bifida, and I have been playing wheelchair tennis for since 2013. And so just going to give you a little bit of an overview of what South Coast Tennis Wheelchair Foundation does for programming, a little bit about the sport. And hopefully, if you have any questions, spend the bulk of the time going through your questions. So first of all, wheelchair tennis is tennis first and foremost, and it is the only difference in terms of the rules is that wheelchair tennis players are allowed to hit the ball after it's bounced twice, whereas able-bodied players have to hit the ball after it's bounced once. The great thing about wheelchair tennis is the fact that wheelchair players can play with able-bodied players. And in fact, me and my husband play regularly together, and he trains regularly with me, and is also a member of South Coast Wheelchair Tennis Foundation. And so we are working on the same skills at the same time. We are working on mobility, we're working on ground strokes, and we are just kind of approaching it a little bit differently because I'm doing my mobility from a chair, he's doing it standing up. So in terms of, like I said, the only significant difference in terms of rules is the bounce. Everything else is the same. We play on the same courts. The nets are the same height. we play both singles and doubles, just like able-bodied tennis. And let's see. And in terms of equipment, the rackets are the same, the balls are the same. The wheelchairs that are used, there are special wheelchair tennis wheelchairs, but basketball wheelchairs can be used. So just I should have probably actually left my wheelchair out here so I could have shown it to you, but tennis wheelchairs have 5 wheels. So you have 2 main wheels, basically like your regular wheelchair, and there's a 5th wheel in the back. On the tennis wheelchairs, they stick out beyond what they do on a basketball wheelchair. And so that's part of why, so you can use a basketball chair to play tennis. You cannot use a tennis wheelchair to play wheelchair basketball. We have straps. Most people have strapping across their legs, some for their feet, to just hold you really tightly in the chair. So it would take a lot to fall out of the chair, though I have seen it happen, especially on clay surfaces. So we do play on hard courts, we play on clay courts, and some people play on grass, though I've never done that. But most wheelchair tennis programming is done on hard courts. And we have been fortunate that through the pandemic, we have still been able to do some programming because we are largely based outdoors. We were able to socially distance. And so South Coast Wheelchair Tennis Foundation has been able to do programming through the winter. And we're actually wrapping up our winter programming and getting geared up for our summer programming. So our programming is open, free to the public, and it's for all ages, children through adults. Basically, if you're interested, even if you are not a wheelchair user and you're interested in just jumping in a chair and seeing what that experience is like, there are opportunities to do that. And in fact, we do monthly clinics through the winter at the Hanover YMCA, the Emerson YMCA, and we have our final program for this winter season tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you're interested in trying it out as soon as possible, there's an opportunity to do that. We also do programming through the Dartmouth Indoor Tennis Club in Dartmouth, Massachusetts. We're doing Friday night clinics from 7 to 9 p.m. through the rest of May. And then we'll be heading into our summer program, which will be outdoors and weekly. We are still working on finalizing the dates for that, as well as the location for that. Our expectation is that we will be running that program out of Barrington, Rhode Island on Tuesday nights from 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. All of our programming, we can provide wheelchairs for you, rackets for you. If you are interested, you just show up and we will make sure that you have everything you need to get started. So we expect our summer programming to begin probably end of June. Again, we're still working on those dates. And once I have that finalized, I'm happy to forward that information to you, Heather, so that that can be passed along to everyone. And let's see. So wheelchair tennis is played at the recreational level all the way up through the Paralympics. And there are opportunities to compete even if you are not at that elite level. There are local tournaments that are, when I say local, in the region, New England, New York, Delaware. There are larger tournaments throughout the southeast part of the country, and I have competed in some of those tournaments. And so, if you are interested in being competitive, again, it's a sport where you don't have to be only at that highest level to be able to have opportunities to compete. It's wheelchair tennis is open to both paraplegics and quads. A lot of quads utilize additional support so perhaps taping their racket to their hand if they have trouble with grips, belts to support through the core that tie to the chair. So there are a lot of ways to make sure that regardless of what your physical ability is, we figure out a way to make the chair work for you. Wheelchair tennis can also be used as in a rehab context. So just as an example, like I said, my husband trains with me at the moment. My father is also playing with us because he's recovering from foot surgery. And so it's a sport that anyone can kind of jump into in any way. So I think that hits most of the big things. And we have we have been fortunate. We have a lot of programming going on, and there are also programs throughout the rest of New England that if there's, so like I said, I'm in New Hampshire right now, so there is weekly clinics at the Goffstown YMCA in New Hampshire. Again, all of these programs have wheelchairs available to them. So I think.
Thank you. We do have a couple of questions in the chat. One is there a lighter tennis racket for someone who has quadriplegia? I know that you mentioned like taping the tennis racket, but is there like a certain one that maybe is lighter weight?
There are so many rackets that are, I mean, so the array of rackets out there is incredible, is expansive. So it really is a lot about figuring out what racket works for you, just like any tennis player would. So if you are a quad, so for instance, I have shoulder issues, so I use a lighter racket. Some players like the heavier rackets because it gives them more power. So in the same ways that any other tennis player would pick a racket that works best for them, there are lots of options out there for that. So absolutely. And that would be something that, you know, as you are learning it, figuring out what size racket works for your hand, how you like to play, how you like to move, that would be part of figuring out what would be the right equipment for you.
Great, excellent. The next question was that so Abby said that her son, who has a T4 injury, used to play tennis and beat both her and her husband. She said easily in Canadian doubles, but she said that he's reluctant to try it because he thinks it would be like a clunky experience. So what type of advice would you maybe have for that?
My advice would be to come out and try it. So I can just give you a quick story about how I first played. So I started playing. I hadn't been involved with any sports, anything. I'm just like allergic to the outdoors when I started playing tennis. You know, I just was not into it, but I had to for health reasons. I needed to do something active, and tennis was something that I've always loved, and I was always interested in trying wheelchair tennis, but I didn't really know where to do it. And so I happened to stumble upon information that a clinic was being run at Harvard that weekend. So I found the person who was running it. It was all just kind of like randomly Googling. And the person that the person I was talking to, I said, oh, I'm interested in trying this. He said, well, come to a clinic. And I said, well, no. I don't know anything yet. I don't have a chair. I don't have a racket. I don't know anything. He said, that's fine. Just come. And I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. And by the end of that weekend, I thought that my body was going to fall apart because I hadn't moved that much in my, for years. And it was also the moment at which I became completely addicted to wheelchair tennis because I expected to be completely uncomfortable. I was terrible at it. I had no hand-eye coordination. And the only way I think for you to get past that is just to try it. And so I would say we all had to start somewhere. And so the pushing of the wheelchair is a different experience, but it is also because the wheelchairs have cambered wheels, you turn faster, you move differently than you do in your daily chair. And because you're strapped in, there is more of a seamless movement that can come with it, and you do feel stable in it. So I would say just come and give it a try and see how it feels.
That's great. That seems like the best advice, just to get out there, stop being scared, and just go give it a shot, right? It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Can you just say again, where is the location in Rhode Island that there might be? Is there a program in Rhode Island?
So we do summer clinics every year. The locations have been moving around over the past couple of years just because of access to facilities. We anticipate that it will be at the Barrington High School tennis courts in Barrington, Rhode Island. at the moment. So we haven't confirmed that yet, but that's our expectation. And we expect that it will run on Tuesday nights. It's usually 3 hours, so typically 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And we usually have 2 courts. So I mean, we have players from all skill levels playing together, doing drills together. So everyone can be involved. You don't have to, people who are working on, we put together drills in such a way that people who are working on more intermediate skills are still able to do that while people are getting used to it and, working on the basics as they get into the sport. So we do have a lot of space and a lot of ability to work, like I said, with every skill ability.
That's great. Awesome. Do you have a website that you can tell us about right now that if people were interested, they could go to?
Yes, absolutely. So our website is southcoastwheelchairtennis.org. And that will have, as soon as we have the final schedule for the summer, it will be up. And if there are any other programs that we do have other opportunities to play, other different clinics that may pop up over the summer and really throughout the year. And anything that we have going on will be up on that site. We also, just one thing I forgot, we have in the past couple of years started doing a 1-day tennis tournament that we host. We've done it out of Hanover at the YMCA in Hanover, which is just a great opportunity just to, try it out. It's not, it's not traveling to another state to play, but it is an opportunity to just be a little bit more competitive. And we are also looking into hopefully starting a tennis league through USTA, through their league programming that would be for both able-bodied players and wheelchair players. That's something that we're hoping we'll see. We're not sure when that will happen. Again, pandemic has put a little bit of a wrinkle in that type of stuff, but that's something that is in the works. And there are always opportunities for pickup games because it is something we can do on public courts. So if it's something that you're interested in and we don't have any programming coming up, but you want to try it, reach out to us and we can find a way for you to play.
All right. That is amazing. Thank you so much. I'm actually getting really pumped to I feel like my body is going to be sore at the end, all throughout the summer, because I'm getting super pumped to get involved with everything right now. I hope
Absolutely.
everybody else is too.
Come out, everybody come out, jump in a chair, try it out.
Yes.
It'll be amazing.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Melissa. That's great. And we're going to move on to Brendan. And I just want to say, Brendan, thank you. You are last, but certainly not least. Thank you so much for your patience, as I have done a little bit of a poor job managing time, but I really think that all of the information has been so valuable, and I'm excited to see your presentation too. So without further ado, there you go. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Brendan Cormier. I work with Spaulding Adaptive Sports Center as a recreational therapist. I'm happy to be here today to give some more information about our various programs. So hopefully I can see some of you guys participating in the sports this summer and in the future. I'll also start with a little background about myself. Just over 5 years ago, I fell out of a tree and sustained a L1 incomplete spinal cord injury. And I was an inpatient at Spaulding Rehab in Charlestown. And while it was there, I was introduced to adaptive sports with Spaulding Adaptive Sports Center through their adaptive cycling and water sport programs. And just the staff helped me find the adaptations I need to get back in the sports that I grew up loving to participate in. And it just really helped me with my recovery process. So it pushed me to get back to the new normal. And there I've also found the new sport of sled hockey and just instantly fell in love with it. And I joined their competitive team. And then I was just fully introduced and immersed into the adaptive sports community. And I just made great friends. And then that drove me to change my career path to become a recreational therapist, just after experiencing so many of those benefits. And then I just strongly believe that sport and recreation involvement is so important. So I just hope that I can help people find a sport that they love as much as I like playing sled hockey. I now play for Northeast Passage, and some of my teammates are on the USA national team and development team. So there's a opportunity to progress highly in this in any of these adaptive sports. And then I also now coach for the Spaulding team, and we have a youth and adult team. And when I'm not playing or coaching sled hockey, I work at the McGraw Center on Cape Cod. where we do adaptive sports such as kayaking and cycling, mountain biking, and a few more that I'll get into as I do a quick presentation. All right. One second. There we go. All right. So we have 3 locations. As I mentioned, the Cape Cod one in Brewster. We're partners with DCR and we're part of that park there in Nickerson State Park. Then we have the Charlestown, Boston, as well as some North Shore programming. And it's we're actually celebrating our 20th year operating into the industry. And just as I was mentioning before, focuses on kind of just bringing sport and recreation into the rehabilitation process to help with life after disability, or just giving full access and inclusive year round for all our different sports. We also do now provide translation services for our virtual and in-person programming. And that's in-person is something we added this year. So just this is a quick breakdown of all of our sports into the different regions. It's actually today is our last day of rock climbing, but if you're interested, we do it also indoor in the winter and then again next year. And then they offer cycling in Boston. And then starting in July, they'll introduce the water sports as well as our sled hockey community practices. And then Cape Cod, we have cycling. We've added mountain biking recently. And then we have some yard games like bocce, cornhole, ladder ball that we have on our site at the state park. And then starting in June, we have kayaking. And then North Shore, we have some target sports, cycling, tennis, and archery. And also starting in July, they'll be adding kayaking as well. Just a quick breakdown of all the sports. Archery and air rifles pictured here, both outdoor and indoor. We do also have the sip and puff. It's not pictured here, as Maureen mentioned, with the sailing, but it's you can use that tube to fire once it's aligned. And so this is mostly this summer is going to be in North Shore programming in Salem. We do have it sometimes in Cape, but not this summer, unfortunately. Then rock climbing, I mentioned, today's the last day, but there's also indoor, which is pictured there if you're interested. Then we have our cycling programs. We do road, the mountain biking I mentioned on Cape, and then indoor spin in the winter. Here's a picture of a few of the bikes we have, some hand cycles here and here, and then recumbent leg cycles, depending on what you would like to use. And then we have different adaptations. If there's a limited grip strength, we have various different options to hold onto the hand cycle, and then adaptations like a foot plate and a calf support to help if you're using a leg cycle. Mountain biking is something we're introducing on Cape this year. We have different hand cycle and recumbent. These are just both hand cycle pictured here. And we also are doing hiking. We have a trek chair, which is kind of, it looks like a tank wheels to like a power chair. So if you want to get out and go for a hike, we can put you in that and go out in the trails. It's an open path where we do the mountain biking and hiking. Kayaking is another sport we do, both in all of our regions. Here's some adaptations to help with the stroke and grip support. This is a paddle pivot, so it'll support that paddle. So it'll help your stroke as you're in the kayak. And then there's also a higher back seating system with lateral supports, which will help stabilize in the kayak. And we have a tandem option if you'd like somebody else in the boat with you. And so we do that on all 3 of our locations as well. Then we have pontoons to help stabilizing, as well as transfer tools to help with a nice, stable, easy transfer. Golf is another program we have. We actually had one of our golf pros retire, so we're this summer might not be as widespread as we normally do, but we have equipment. This is the paragolfer. Oh no, this is the solo rider, as well as a paragolfer, which allows you to get a little more upright to help assist you with a swing. And so it's not going to be as present this summer until we kind of like solidify the next person coming in, but we will offer that as we go on. Then we also have wheelchair and standing tennis available. What time was that? In Beverly, as well as pickleball. So we use those court sport chairs as we was discussed earlier. There's a picture of the court sport chair there. Then sled hockey. This is in Boston area. We practice in Everett or Wilmington. We have the adult Shamrock team, as well as the youth sledgehog team, little hedgehog and a sled there. And it's basically just sitting in a bucket with your blades underneath you. Then you have your sticks with picks on the end, and then the blades on the other end to play with the puck with both hands. And so you skate, and it's a competitive sport where our adult team plays in the Northeast Sled Hockey League. So we travel, it's a traveling sport where we play teams like Maine, Connecticut, Vermont, New Hampshire, all over if that's kind of an option you're looking for, some more competitive, as well as we have a recreational community level if you just want to get out on the ice and get some exercise. We also, during COVID-19, we added some virtual programming. We have never done it before, but we started going into the Zoom, as everyone kind of did. And well, we reached a whole new audience and people really enjoy it. So we're going to keep it to an extent throughout the summer in our future. And so I'll break down into some of the group and one-on-one classes, but this one here is one that's going to be continued throughout. If you're interested, it's Found Sound. It's run by one of the Cape Cod therapists, Craig. It's kind of like a meditation and drumming. And it's a really cool group to hang out with if you want to just do some like it's a guided meditation as well as some drumming and some nice conversations, which is fun. And then we have yoga, which at this point, I think we're offering one class a day if you're interested. And due to a generous donation, we are offering those all for free this summer. And that's just a picture of our yoga program here. We have a lot of different options for you to try. We do have one in person in McGraw starting in July if you're interested down on the Cape. Then our group fitness classes, the inclusive fitness training is more one-on-one with an inclusive fitness trainer, if you're interested in that, as well as a different variety of group classes, an upper body pump, a floor and core, which is required to transfer to the floor if you want to work on that. We have a shorter class, 30-minute fitness, cardio class, and then adaptive boxing, which you can do seated or standing. Actually, all of these classes are at any option. We'll adapt to whatever your needs are. Then we also include our adaptive sports medical clinic, where this is Dr. Sherry Blowett. We have experienced doctors and physical therapists come in and give kind of really specified adaptive athletes one-on-one training to like kind of help limit their sport or pain or injury or anything they're going through with their participation. And just to end here is just some of our contact information. We have the email here. I have a flyer that'll be sent out after. You can either email, call this phone number to help register, or I can pull up our website here. It's just broken down into our 3 different locations, kind of gives a breakdown of our sports. And then you can just create an account up here by pressing join. Then we have a calendar where you can go through our various sports. You can search if you want by region, month, or activity, and then you just can sign up through our website here, and that'll be included in our flyer. And I think that's all I have. If anyone has any questions for me.
What questions do you have for Brendan? I used to do the cycling in Boston, and I actually was able to cycle with my son, who was 3 at the time, for the very first time. And it was very emotional and exciting, and just like, it was just amazing. It's a great program, and I hope to get back to it this summer. So
awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
Hi, this is Maria Matos.
Yeah.
Heather, first I want to, Heather, thank you. You make my blood is jump out of my veins today. With all this program, I feel like, wow. And I practice with Jim and Juan Carlos before with the wheelchair football. And now I see all the sport come on me. And I used to play tennis before my injury. And now which one can I go? So it's a lot.
So many options. This is so great. All right, so Maria, let's get out and work out this summer. Okay, we're going to do it.
Thank you.
Great. Any questions for Brendan? I think it was a very thorough presentation. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Who was speaking there?
Tracy Tarbers.
Yeah,
I'm from Truro. I live in New Bedford. I have really enjoyed Spaulding and Sandwich quite a bit. I am very interested in, because you talked a lot about Cape Cod.
Yeah.
And I remember Craig's name.
Yeah, so we do some sports in Sandwich. That's where the Cape Cod Hospital is. Like we do some kayak. We're gonna do some kayaking at night, or like an afternoon session versus the day in Sandwich. But then we're located in Brewster, if you know where that is on Cape.
Yeah.
So we're at the state park there, Nickerson State Park, and we're right on the rail trail. So we do kayaking and cycling there, some yard games and stuff. And then we also do that the hiking and the mountain biking in Marston Mills. So we have a lot of different we kind of travel all over the Cape, and it's kind of Saturdays and Wednesdays is mountain biking, then cycling is kind of throughout the week, Tuesday through Saturday, as well as kayaking.
Great.
Those are kind of our major locations.
So when does all that start?
Actually, the 17th, so very soon. Yeah, next week is our first week and a week of programming.
Great.
And so you go onto that website and sign up for anything you may be interested in.
Great.
Tracy, we can talk more about that too. And if you need any help signing up, then I'm sure we can have somebody help you out with that and figure out what you want to do.
Our that phone number that's included that'll be on the flyer is it'll go right to Connie, and she'll walk right through you like the sign up process if you have any issues. It's really great.
It's great. Good news.
Do you have a question in the chat? And then Maureen, I see you have a question too. So one question about for individuals who may have rehabbed at Spaulding during the pandemic and didn't have much chance to try adaptive sports, how would you recommend that they kind of get started with the outpatient rec program? Would they just call that number, set up an account, and go through with that, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, so that's a good question. We're not really outpatient. We're a community program affiliated with a hospital. So all you have to do is go to a website. It's not like you don't need a prescription. You just sign up and you'll be you just sign up through our website. There's no and you create a profile which gives us the background information, but it's not you don't have to it's not you don't need any kind of anything from the hospital or your inpatient. It's just a community program who's affiliated with a hospital, so you can just sign up through that website.
Perfect. No, that's great to know. I think having that knowledge of the disconnect there too. I mean, there's obviously the affiliation, but just that it's a separate program is good to know.
Yeah.
Excellent. Go ahead, Maureen.
Just a quick question about the yoga. It looks like you have a lot more programs than I was aware of. And would I find all that on the website?
Yeah, so it's basically just split up into the instructors that are teaching them. And so I think we just added one. I can pull back up that list. Yeah, so it's kind of like there was a Boston in-person program that's taught by Jackie, which is the Wine Garden, and I think they're staying virtual. McGraw is taught by our McGraw. We're going to do a little bit in person, and then there's chair yoga, which is taught by Ravash. So it's just like kind of the teachers, and I think we're adding these two this year. This summer is these are two brand new classes. So we're trying to. I think we have now at least one a day, and so they're all on that website, and I think these two are new. And then these are the other four. Those are just on different days throughout our website.
And they're all virtual with the exception of McGraw.
Yeah, and it's going to be run hybrid. So the McGraw one also is virtual. So we kind of set up a camera on site so that people can do it in person as well as join virtually.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Excellent. Any other last questions for, I guess, any of our presenters before we wrap it up? We did go 10 minutes over, but I appreciate all of your time and all the information. And I think people are leaving messages in the chat saying thank you, great information. I think people are really pumped. I hope that this presentation has really helped to get people energized and motivated to get out there and move your bodies as much as you possibly can. Any other questions?
Heather, it's Tracy.
Yeah.
I just really wanted to encourage people, because when you're kayaking, I mean, I was wading, I don't know what it's called, bicycle down the canal. It was very nice to get on the Cape Cod Canal for Spaulding.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah,
lot.
absolutely. That sounds amazing too. I've only cycled around Boston and Charlestown, but maybe I'll venture down to the Cape this summer and yeah, it's really great to get out and get some fresh air, but I don't want to exclude Jim because I'm sorry, I misspoke a little bit with getting outdoors, but also just like getting the excitement, getting your blood flowing. That wheelchair soccer, I don't think I've ever seen a video of how wheelchair soccer is played. So that was really, really cool to see the action that's involved there. So yeah, definitely. Well, if there aren't any more questions, I want to thank all of our presenters again. This has been so great. I really cannot say that enough. This has really like far, far exceeded my expectations of the day. You know, our organization is so appreciative of you taking the time on a Saturday to come in and talk to all of us. So thank you again. And thank you to all of our attendees. We always love having you all here. And remember that if we don't have your email, please shoot it over to Jessica. Send a quick message to Jessica if you don't think that you're on our mailing list. But I think she said she got pretty much everybody's email. All right, she's giving us a thumbs up. So we'll get that information out to everybody probably early next week. So then we'll be able to get everything to you all. So great. Well, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. It's a beautiful day out there. So hope you all enjoy it. Thank you so much.
That was great.
Everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thank you.